Hi guys, so here for another video. This time I thought I'd show you another one of my builds. We're mainly now on the Glock subject matter. I'm really into my Glocks. There was like a photo or video floating around that you might have seen before where I just had them all laid out and there was about, I don't know, 30. I've reduced the collection down a bit now, but there are a couple which I saved, this being one of them. I got this box. I think I had like a D-bal or something that came in this box, but it's perfect for fitting in my ZEV Glock 26. So yeah, this is another one of my custom builds. When I do Glocks, I use a lot of Garda parts because the frames are really good, I find. This is a gunsmodify ZEV slide. It did come without a barrel, which is currently fitted to a different pistol at the moment, but I've currently got a Garda out of barrel fitted in this one at the moment. A few other little bits and pieces. I've got a Real Steel Recover GR26 front rail adapter on here as well. Salient arms, flat trigger, Garda stainless steel, slide release, Garda stainless steel, takedown lever, and we're also running some Garda sights as well. So anyway, what I've got in here as well is a Glock 19, this is a WE Glock 19 magazine, if I can get this piece off. If you're not already aware, which most people are who deal with or mess around with Glocks, the nice thing with the WE, Toka Marui, Action Army Armament Glocks, they all use the same magazine pickups, so all of the mountings are the same apart from the mount on sight versions, and the AAPO1 mags are slightly different as well. But these ones all run this style of router. The WEs have this flat router, which you can see on there, and the Toka Maruis are curved. WE mags, I don't know what it is, just seem to run better than the Toka Marui ones, I find. It's a shame they don't have any of the trades on, but you can see I've added this X grip on this one so that when I'm running it in the 26, I've got quite big hands. It just fits nicely in my hand there. So this is how I normally run it. We'll break it down in a moment and I'll show you what's we've got internally and how I've got it set up. So let's talk about the setup then. So like I said to you before, with this I use a lot of Garda parts. Most of my Glocks, a lot of Garda parts. I do use some WE stuff though as well. Again, WE mags tend to work really well compared to the TM ones. And I also use a mixture of Garda and WE internals. So we'll drop the slide here and then pull down the takedown levers here, which is the stainless steel Garda ones here, by the way, and then slide the slide forwards. We'll talk about the lower in a moment. And here's the upper, which you'll notice if you're familiar with WE or Toka Marui Glocks, this is running a WE blowback unit and a WE nozzle. So the reason why I use the WE blowback unit and nozzle, it's a bit of a faff to make it fit into what's designed for a TM slide. There's a bit of filing required on the blowback unit. But the WEs are on a bigger nozzle. I think it's 14 millimeters as opposed to the Toka Marui's, I think 13 or 13 and a half, which sounds really marginal. But you've got to remember the Toka Marui's are designed originally for running plastic slides. With the tiny little mags that you get with the 26, there isn't a lot of oomph to drive a heavier slide back. So I find that the WE blowback unit with the WE nozzle, and again, this is a stock nozzle. This is a stock nozzle. I think I've got a stock piston head and a stock return spring, and they run beautifully. But that's because they're designed to run with a metal slide. So you can see internally here, I've got a Garda stainless steel guide rod, which is the 2-stage one, which is what the Glock 26 has. Upgraded springs as well. I think these are the Garda upgraded ones, but to be fair, from memory, I think the WE ones are just as strong. We can remove that by lifting that out. The 26 is a bit different because it does have this slightly different setup where it's got this little notch here that locates into the hop unit, whereas a lot of them just mount flush. But it's quite a strong little recoil spring assembly there. We've then got our outer barrel and hop unit. Again, this is a Garda outer barrel, stainless steel one. I only actually recently put this one in because I've robbed the gold one I had in here previously for a different build, which I'll show you another time. In this one, I'm running the Garda enhanced chamber. These are okay. I'm running a... Oh, I'm trying to remember what hop that is now. I think the hop rubber is a maple leaf Decepticon. Whatever hardness the pink one is, I can't remember what it is. Maybe it's a 50. I can't remember off the top of my head. So yeah, that's just the standard one, but notice it does say it is for Marui G26, KJ 19 and 23. Now a lot of the KJ stuff is sort of direct clones of Toka Marui's stuff, whereas WE's is slightly different. The locating hole in the hop unit is a bit different. It was a different shape entirely, actually. Which I can show you in a moment, actually. Let me go and grab one. So this is the standard WE hop unit. You can see also running a maple leaf Decepticon. Now, if we look at the hole in the front, hopefully you can see that. We compare that to the Garda. There is a difference. You can see the Garda one is a lot larger, it's a bit higher. Also, the Garda has this extra little notch on the side here, which is for the dropping barrel. Honestly, it doesn't make a huge difference, but you know, it's one of the differences between the two. And also, if we look at the guide rods side by side, this is the WE one, and this is the Marui spec. You can see, again, the location of that pin is different. They're also a different shape, but honestly, that makes very little difference here. So the WE stuff is ever so slightly off Marui spec, and obviously that's done on purpose, mainly for copyright and stuff like that. Not that I think WE are particularly bothered about copying anyone's designs, considering they do that quite a lot. So that's the differences there. And again, the hop units here are pretty good. Nothing much to really say about them. You can see this barrel is very worn. This pistol's had quite a lot of use. It's one of my favourites. So we'll put that over one side for the moment and we'll have a quick look at the slide. So like I said to you before, this is a gunsmodify ZEV slide. You can see we've got a bit of wear here and a bit of wear inside. Mainly because I've been running a steel barrel in this, which you can see does create a bit of a sort of extra damage in here as it recoils. I do intend on grinding that out, but to be fair, with the pistol recoiling the way it does, it actually has just moved the metal out of the way and it's perfect as it is now. You can see I had to do a little bit of filing in here to make the blowback unit fit correctly. And we've got a bit of wear on the slide stop here because this is an alloy slide, but it is aluminium. It's not pot metal. It is a really, really nicely made slide. Crazy lightweight. It is anodized as well, so you get very little wear on it. Many of the marks you see on this are really just, you know, just oil or my finger marks on it. But it's a very nice bit of kit. And again, if you can find them, I think they've been out of stock for a couple of years now, but if you can find them, they're fantastic. On here, I'm running some Garda Glock steel sights, which again are superb. I always run the Glock Garda steel sights if I can. But again, like I said to you before, blowback unit here is standard WE, and that's pretty much the same with all of my Glock builds. Again, standard WE piston head there. That is a little bit lazy actually going back there, but probably needs a bit of lubricant. I haven't messed with this one for a while. But yeah, with all my Glock builds, blowback unit, completely stock WE, use a stock WE magazine. All the rest is TM spec, and it works perfectly most of the time. So we'll look into the lower in a moment. I'll put this back together and we'll have a quick look at the lower. Put this back together in here. And again, we've just got to make sure that this is in the correct position so it will lock in place, which it will in a moment. If I can get this lined up. There we go. That's all now locked back in place. So let's look at the lower. So here we have our standard, well, I say standard, it's far from standard actually. This is a Garda lower. You can see this is one of my early stippling jobs. I've come a long way since doing this stippling job, I must say. It's okay. It's not the best I've ever done. I'll show you my GHK Glock another time, and the stippling job on that I'm much more happy with. This is okay. I probably will change this lower again at some point, but you know, it's all right for now. But one of the nice things on this one, which I'll get asked about all the time when I show this off, is the Recover GR26 rail adapter. Now, honestly, I'm not fussed about running any kind of lights or anything on this because, honestly, I just like the extra bulk it adds on the front of the pistol. The thing I like with the 26 is it's such a compact little pistol. And for some reason, I just find the GR26 Recover frame adapter is just the extra piece that it needs to make it give that a little bit more aggression. But modifications I tend to make to the Garda lowers, undercuts, so you can get your hand in a lot lower. I normally do a magazine release cut. I normally go with Gen 3 frames because it gives you a lot of parts compatibility. So obviously most of the aftermarket parts that are available are for Gen 3 Glocks, Airsoft wise anyway. The Gen 4s have recently, well I say recently, they've been out a couple of years now, but there's nowhere near the amounts of parts availability there is for the Gen 3s. Gen 3s, it's endless. There's so many parts available. So most of mine, I go for the Gen 3s, and actually, unlike a lot of people, I actually prefer the Gen 3 look, and I'm right-handed, so I can just use the normal right-handed magazine release anyway. So yeah, not much else to say about the frame here. Again, I've, stippled it to the best of my ability a couple of years back. But yeah, talk about the internals. We've got a Salient Arms trigger, which is adjustable. Fantastic little triggers. I'm not actually a big fan of the flat trigger look, but because it was such a heavily modified or heavily looking modified pistol, I felt it was only right to have a different type of trigger. I've got the Garda stainless steel takedown lever on the front here and the stainless steel slide stop. Then internally, this is all Garda. We've got a Garda steel front frame, and we've got a Garda steel trigger bar. We've also got the Garda spring upgrade. So the trigger spring is an upgrade. The mag release spring is an upgrade. All the springs inside the hammer unit are upgraded as well. And this is a full Garda hammer unit. Personally, stay away from the Garda hammer unit, in my opinion. God, they're a real pain. Sometimes they'll work great, other times they won't. If you're pretty good with tech-in stuff, go ahead. But honestly, I had so much trouble with this one. But it works great now. I've got this one running a Bomber hammer bearing. There are a few other hammer bearings available now, but the Bomber one from Boom Arms is fantastic. Really, really good. Nice and smooth. This really helps smooth out the action. on the sort of Gen 3 spec without the full auto capability. Obviously, this being a 26, there's no full auto capability. Worth bearing in mind as well that a lot of people think that just because it's a full auto version, you can put sort of normal 17 parts in it or vice versa. The hammer units and the trigger bars are completely different. Virtually no parts are compatible between the two other than the valve locker. So all the other parts are completely different. The pickup for the blowback unit on the trigger bar is in a different place. The actual blowback unit is completely different as well. So yeah, so this is a Garda full steel rear unit here, and you can see I've polished the frame rails. I've polished the frame rails on the front here as well. I've angled the front frame rails here a bit as well, because I just found that on the Guns Modify slide, it was biting into it a little bit and causing some jams. So again, it doesn't need this full length for what is an Airsoft slide, so it doesn't matter. I've also polished the front part of this as well, which is where the underside of this slide, as you can see, has been rubbing. So I polished that quite early on after that happened. But yeah, so that's the inside. It's like I say, full steel, and it works great, really snappy. But God, it took a lot of messing around to make it work. So yeah, when it comes to the hammer units, personally, I just stick with stock. You don't really need to go down the route of changing the springs. I've done it on this one because I wanted to upgrade it. Did I need to? Absolutely not. I could have left it stock and it would have been perfect. So yeah, personally, I wouldn't worry about going down this route. But if you really want it all steel, knock yourself out, but expect there to be a lot of messing around. Garda stuff rarely fits perfectly and works spot on. You need to do a lot of fettling to make it run. So we'll put the slide back on this one. Nice and smooth, runs really well. Let's put the mag in. I know a few of you guys have said every time I do any shooting demonstrations, the volume drops right down. I'm using my phone to film these. I don't know why that is. If you could tell me in the comments, that would be fantastic, because I'd really like to stop that happening, but I've got no idea why it happens. But if you let me know, I'll be really appreciative of that. So we'll run it anyway. I'll try and speak up after I've shot it so you can still hear me, but nice and snappy. Crazy snappy little pistol. Love it. It's fantastic. One of my favourites. I've got a lot of steel Glocks with steel slides and other steel internals. This would probably be one of the ones I never let go. It's a fantastic little thing. You can't really get these slides much very often. I do need to change the lower. I appreciate that's my early stipple job, which was not the best, but it was. Everyone starts out somewhere. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like the 26? I have actually got another 26, which is going to be a build at some point. I ordered a whole new bunch of 26 parts the other day from Rainbow 8, which arrived the other day. I've got another 26, which is full steel. I'll show you that one another time, guys. But any questions? Anything you want to ask about building one of these, or anything you want me to cover in these videos, let me know. Feel free to fire away. I'll try and answer any questions I have. And we'll leave it there for now. And I'll see you in another video.